Dolphins
Ooh.
open preseason tomorrow night, game 1, and it's the Atlanta Falcons in town. So, and let me just ask you, I was saying to Crowder as we were bringing you on, did you play in preseason games? It meant a little something more
Absolutely.
back in the day. Like
Absolutely.
it literally seems to mean almost nothing now.
Yeah, absolutely. I played in all 4 of them. Absolutely. The 4th one was maybe the least amount you played. You know, the 4th one you probably got a series and then sat down. But those first 3, especially 3 was really dress rehearsal. You know, you had to play the 3 until the 3rd quarter. I think we played to the end of the 3rd quarter. Back then in the 1st and 2nd, you know, I think the biggest thing I think is they expanded the playbook. You know, like obviously the first game you only had like hitches, slants, and a go. You only had like 3 routes you could run. But I think, I think, you know, and I think the timing was different too, because, you know, like Channing might, you know, like that 4th game, like that was the bubble game. Like, oh boy, like you gonna make it, you gonna not make it, you gonna make the practice squad. You know, those guys was wanting you to get out quick because they were on a short leash. And you know they wanted to know whether they were going to be there or not be there. So it was a real crucial time. I think just the whole landscape has changed with that. I mean, if you weren't a starter with a big contract, you had to play. Really had to play. You know.
And OG, now I was talking about earlier too, where we were so mentally conditioned to one quarter first. You know, First game, second game, you can play a quarter and a half. Third game, you got to play a half with 1 series for adjustments. Like, but now as a grown man looking back, like it was just mental conditioning that you thought that was the way. I really don't feel as if, like you're talking about, if you already on the team, you already in the league. I'm looking at it now, bro. I think the preseason is a damn waste of time.
I don't know. I think you really have to get into it, like you say, mentally, to get your routine down pat. I think, you know, unless, you know, I think if you don't have at least 1 preseason game, 2 preseason games, like, you know, you could probably have 1 you got to play and then the other one for, you know, the people trying to make the squad. But I think you have to have some type before that first game, because the first game, you know, becomes really important, you know, and then you look back and say, oh, if we had won that first game, then we would have made the playoffs, so we'd have had home field advantage. So I think it's just so serious, and, you know, they pay these people a lot of money, but I understand what you're saying, because, you know, we're not, you know, teaching Tyreek and Tua how to, you know, throw a deep ball and run the routes, but I think they do have to, you know, you have to get in your routine, getting yourself together, going to the game, you know, where certain things are at the stadium, you know, what car you're going to drive, what time you get in there. I know it's a little different because it's a nighttime game and you play during the day, but I think the dry run has to happen sooner or later before the first game, so you know, okay, I'm ready. Like, you know, you see Tyreek Hill and them, you know, they come out there, socks are down, you know, they don't have on the wristband, so you know they're not playing. But I think the fact that you're out there running around, even talking to the younger players, gets you in the rhythm of, okay, next week is a real game. You know, I mean, like I said, once again, obviously the quarterback, and, you know, you don't have to, but I still think mentally for the old players, you can go through it, but the younger players like Pork Chop gonna need that. He gonna need that to get ready for his situation, because I think, you know, for all intents and purposes, he's gonna be a starter. You know, so he has to go through that to get, you know, and you'll have Phillips and you'll have Chubbs in his ear telling them what to do or what they should do or what they did. You know, if they just went to game 1, you know, I really can't help you on game 1. You know, it's not cutting time on game 1 account, you know.
Now, what about, because you mentioned Tua and Tyreek at the beginning of that answer. Go ahead. Solana wasn't paying attention. I said Tyreek.
Tyreek about to show out this year.
Solana missed it. How'd you miss that one? That was a
Tyreek. That's what we got, Hawk.
Yeah.
Tyreek.
Yeah. 8 days of Tyreek.
Oh, God.
So Tyreek gets this giant restructured contract, and Tua gets his giant restructured contract. And so what is reasonable expectations now for this team. I think it's got to be more than just going to the playoffs, and I think it's got to be more than just winning a playoff game. Like, everything has fallen into place, no?
It's the same thing. I think, first things first is definitely I don't think that those expectations weren't there before. You know what I'm saying? I think you kind of knew that Tua was going to get the contract because he's the quarterback. And once you knew we were going to sign him, because, obviously I just wasn't the biggest Tua advocate, but I think right now I'm happy with the signing. I mean, he's the guy. If you're going to keep the coach, you got to keep the quarterback. And if you got to keep the quarterback, you got to keep Tyreek, or none of it work, right? So those things are in place. But I think the number one key for us, and I can say us because, I've been a part of it, none of it's going to work if we got to go somewhere in South Florida for a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? So we got to win the AFC, East. I think that's the most important thing. After that, we can probably, that in turn will help us win the first playoff game, because it's tough. I mean, last year we had to go to Kansas City. I mean, the best thing we can say about that is, we had to go to Kansas City and they won the Super Bowl. All right. But, I mean, everywhere else is going to be cold. Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, unless we go into not San Diego, L.A., you know what I mean? Like, Jacksonville. Every place else, everybody else is going to be, it's going to be cold. So I think that is where we're looking to. That's where I'm looking to. Like, let's win the AFC East and then see how things shake out, because that in turn gives us a home playoff game. Then all those things become, we got to get our defensive ends back. Then we'll see, how well the money is spent. Because I just think if you're going to have the coach for a long period of time, you got to have the quarterback, because the quarterback, is the arm of the coach. Like, I don't think we would have another quarterback if that wasn't the coach. And now, if Tyreek not there, I don't think the quarterback works. So I do think we have to win at least 2 games in the playoffs for it to be, for it to be well worth it.
Yeah.
Acceptable, yeah, for the money. Because, everybody's going to be on the money. Oh, first bad pass. Oh, we paid $212 million for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, my quarter, Dan was the quarterback, and then when he left, it was Jay, and Jay won some playoff games. You know what I mean? So, he's got to do it. There's no excuses now. You got the money, you got the 2 guys you need locked up, you got a bevy of running backs. I mean, I don't know what else you need to do. You got the head coach. I don't know what else we need at this point.
And OG, knowing with this first game, with this preseason, pretty much all overall, knowing that there's going to be, guys in and out of the lineup, the depth chart's not going to be solidified yet. What are you looking for? Because honestly, I do not know what the hell the defense is going to look like. I don't know what Anthony Weaver runs. So that's my thing. What are you looking for in the preseason to better understand this 2024 team?
Well, I think because of all of what we said, we got to make sure the offensive line is intact, decent. We got a solid 5 starters that's going to play. And if we don't, who are the backups that we need to come in? Because we know one of the guys probably not going to play a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, we got to know that we got somebody that can step in and take that spot. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think, every other spot, I think, for the most part, has adequate, backup. I think we got a bevy of receivers, one of them being guy coach Anthony Schwartz. Hopefully he makes the team. You got a stable of running backs. You got everybody look fast at the running back, everybody. And so I think, and I like Mike White. The games Mike White has started, he's threw for 400 yards, so I think it's, we adequate at everything there. It's just, I don't know the offensive line, and I need to see them, able to not only, maul for the running game, but to take care of Tua. And I think that's the only X factor, that we don't know. Because, for all intents purposes, not for all intents purposes, you have the number one player in the NFL on your team.
Right.
So, know what I'm saying? So, that and you gave Tua the money that, maybe a lot of people didn't think, he should get. You know what I'm saying? So you got everything in place that you need when you put up, even on paper, when you put up our roster against everybody else's roster, you know what I mean? Like it's right there. So I think the O-line is the only question, that we have. And we've seen people win with, I don't know, but lesser O-lines, but, just as adequate an O-line, as we have. So I think that's the biggest key. The defense, I think, on the defensive side of the ball, I think I can't really, I'm not going to, rate the defense or say anything with the defense until we get our two defensive ends back. I can't, you just can't, because, like whoever, we know Ramsey can handle himself, but the other cornerbacks, and we know, the safeties are really good. So those three are good. The defensive backfield is great. You got to see what the linebackers do, but all that is a domino effect. If you ain't getting no pressure on the quarterback, everybody open. I'm gonna get open. Give me 5 seconds, I'm gonna get open. If you get no pressure, so that I can't really rate them. And like you said, I don't know what Weaver runs, but I'm pretty sure. Hey, you got to stop him from scoring 30. We should win.
I just want to stop you earlier. The young man's name is Chop. It's not Pork Chop. I don't know if you're hungry or not.
He keeps calling Pork Chop, and I like that better.
I like that better. Like why? Yeah. Like why we don't put the pork in front of it? Like just Chop. Like I don't
the
like
whole reason
Chop.
he goes to Arby's, we got the meats. Like why are we just calling him Chop? Chop could be a chop salad.
Yeah.
You want a chop salad or you want a pork chop? Who do you want out on the football field? Pork chop or chop salad?
I want a lamb chop.
They too little. If I can say, lamb chop you gotta have like 3 lamb chops equal 1 pork chop. You
gotta go. We don't have any time to talk pickleball. We went way over. We were talking about the Radisson.
Oh man,
we love you, Oronde. It all starts tomorrow. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
All right, man. Talk to y'all later.
Oronde Gadsden on his way to an Arby's right now. All right, don't go anywhere. We got more Hockman and Crowder.